Well, hi guys. We're gonna try to get ourselves set up here and chat a little bit before we ain't live yet. We're not live. We're just playing around. I'm giving us a 15-minute warm up. Let's see now. How's it? I'm using my new camera. I got this fancy new camera that I can't show you because it's the camera. But I'm kind of tickled with it. It seems a little dark to me, and I've got a lot of light on. I don't know really what else I can do. Does it seem dark? Where's Putty Tang? Yeah, really. I know. I don't know what happened to Putty Tang. He was going to do a intro video, and then he just sort of disappeared. And I wound up hiring a fellow in India who's doing all of my editing, and he's amazing, amazing. I'm so happy with him. Happy Sunday, Kaler. Nice to see you. Oh dear. Hey, Kaler, I have lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. 20 pounds in 2 weeks. On the carnivore food plan. Now, it's not a diet. I eat until I'm satisfied. I'm never hungry. But I only eat meat and dairy. I don't drink milk, but I eat a lot of other dairy. A lot of eggs, some cheese. I don't skimp on any of it. And I eat as much as I want. And I've lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. So it's crisp, not dark for me, Chris. Good, wonderful. Karen, I think I just gave you a wrench. Hello, Paul Cohen, Purge, Ricky Cradleball, JD, Caleb Taylor, sort of rhythm ticks, Sib 3 and 3 ticks. You need a wrench. You also need a pronounceable name. I'll just call you Sib. How's that, Sib? Mickey. Hello, Mickey. Mickey's in Detroit. Give him another. I'm passing out wrenches here, guys. Straight out of Cornwall. All right. That thumbnail, Tommy produced that. My my thumbnail team came up with it as a joke, and then I posted it as the thumbnail for the algae video. Uh, they were stunned that I did it. I think it's wonderful. I love it. It's gotta get clicks. It just has to. Hey, Silver Creek. Had some would you die off on my sump. Oh, you think that got funky? I had I had a handful of plants left over after we shipped, and I threw them in my I don't know what that is, a 15 tall, I guess. And I've got two little musk turtles in there, babies, little ones. Well, not babies. They're like 2 inches or so. It ranked out. Absolutely. Oh my word. I pulled out slime, just hands full of slime. And I still haven't got it all out. The water's clearing up, so I guess I got control of it. Yuck. I don't really know what happened. I can't imagine the turtles did it. Probably putting those plants in, they probably were not real healthy. They should have been. I mean, brand new, just shipped in. I'm making some changes in my plant business. I've decided I'm going to bite the bullet and start buying plants overnight. I am tired of fighting with FedEx, UPS, and the post office. I should be shipping them overnight, but that would cost almost $50, and I haven't had many problems with that. I have had problems getting them in. I want to get them in as fresh as possible. We also are set up now to be able to ship out the same day they come in, at least for the bunch plants. So probably that's going to be Wednesday. And we will ship the bunch plants only on Wednesday. We'll ship all of them. Whatever's left, I'm not gonna sell. I'll put them in my ponds. I'm not gonna take any more chances of getting stuff that's to people that's not as fresh as it can be. Right, who else is here? Kenny D. Goodness gracious. Hey, Kenny, how are you? Nice to see you. Peace, love, and light, blessings, health. You betcha, Kenny. Erie first. How's your daughter, Kenny? Thinking about getting a pot of orca whales. I saw your silly ass comment in in my YouTube comment section, and I didn't quite know what to make of it. There is a fish called a whale. It's about that big. Now they're not live bearers. They're egg layers. Orca whales, they won't they won't clear up the algae. No, sorry. They ain't gonna do a thing for algae other than make it worse. You need to do better than that. I'll tell you what'll work. I'll tell you what'll clean up the algae since you're into this. Walrus. Walrus will clean up algae. They love it. They feed on the bottom. They munch like a cow. Absolutely perfect. Get walrus and put them in your tank, and you won't have any more algae problems. Guaranteed. That's a father fish absolute. Slaughers. Looked around my bedded tank at night with a light and lens. Turns out I have scuds, Daphne, detritus worms, and maybe a few others. Yeah, I'm sure you do. Well, probably a lot few others. Nice, nice. That's fun to do, you know. You can do it with a blue light or a red light. Um, the blue light is kind of a moonlight, and nocturnal animals will come out in that, or a red light, an infrared. That'll get them out too. Good job, nice. Tazam, hello Tazam. Gonna give Tazam a wrench here. So is my head cocked? I'm like, the whole thing seems cockeyed. You know what? It is cockeyed. There's something. It's tilted. I don't know if I can straighten it out. Huh. Well, now what do I do? I hit a close up button. That's funny. Wonder if I can find it. How did I do that? No, honestly, this is typical. It's it's getting worse. What do I do? Learn not to touch things. That's what I do. I haven't got a clue how to fix this. Where's, and I can't see a thing. All right, let me try some buttons. Just press all the buttons, Father Fish. Press all the buttons. Except the on-off button. Don't press that one. I don't know what does this. What does this? Honestly. Oh, I got this screen here that flips out. I don't know. Well, I just lost it. Now they're back. Honest to God, this is why I started early. Because I knew it was going to screw up. Well, I pressed every button, but not the one that made it happen. Mercy. Let's see how bad it is. Maybe I can. Whoops. Now I turned it off. Oh, what the hell have I done? Huh. Have I got sound? I got sound. At least you can hear me. Yeah. Funny thing about new equipment. I've got it turned on. It's turned on. On. Ha! Oh, dear God. Madness. There. Somehow that's better. And low hell. It's crooked. I need to. I think maybe my desk is crooked. That's probably the problem. What can I prop it up with? Now, there's one other thing I can do. Let's see. If I look at it on YouTube. Well, it won't be up yet. Yeah, there it is. That ain't bad. Okay, we're as back as we're gonna get. Hello, Marky. Oh goodness. All right, down to the end. Orchids and antlers. Toasting some bread. You can't tempt me. I am untemptable. Untemptable. I did it right. Did I just give you a wrench, Lewis? I don't think I did. Add monitor. No, I didn't, but I just did. So now everybody to date is wrenched. David, I'm naughty. Will I be discussing cyanobacteria tonight? I don't know. Would you like me to discuss cyanobacteria tonight? I mean, I could do that. Happy to. I just did a video about it, in fact. Hope you watched the video. What do you want to know about cyanobacteria, David? Make your case. Thank you, Kenneth. There is, well, I was going to say there is another adjustment. That would be dumb, wouldn't it? I don't need to make another adjustment. I've already made a few. Stallion fish keeping gardening. Back in the room, all things are possible. Amen to that. Why do I have staghorn algae? I have everything good besides CO2. Well, yeah, if you're doing a deep substrate, you have more CO2 than any mechanical device could possibly create. But it's all down in the substrate where I might add it belongs. Why do you have staghorn algae? I don't know. Do you like it? I have flies, and I think I figured out where they're coming from. Staghorn fern, staghorn algae. Oh, that is nasty stuff. I got to agree. See if I can depict it here. There we go. All right, this is what it is. Let's see if I can show it to you. Is that what you got? That is nasty looking stuff, I got to admit. All right, now where am I? Okay. Yeah, you need something to eat it. This fly won't leave me alone. Land one more time, I dare you. Got him. Um, I tell you, here's my problem with staghorn. I've never had it. I've never had staghorn algae, so I really don't know how to deal with it. I mean, it should be like any other algae. You know, it's a function of excess nutrients. If you just pull out what you can, it should eventually die off. My discipline with algae is to control it, not to kill it. Because if you try to kill it, you're going to wind up killing more things than you want dead. So control it. grab it by the handsful with it and pull it out. ADH Dan, carnivore diet. Been eating a lot meat lately and started losing weight. I tell you, I've been doing it faithfully for 2 weeks. I've lost 20 pounds. My insulin has dropped in half. My blood pressure is 119/67. My blood, my heart medications, I've dropped 1.5, and I'm feeling better than I have in years. This thing is too high. But I still got a gut. I haven't lost that yet. That's going to take a little more time and effort. But I'm getting the worst of it off. Smack those flies, you betcha. Right. Keeping up with the wrenches here. Sugar is a villain. Absolutely is. Sugar is the villain, no question about it. And fructose is the worst of all. It's the most destructive sugar there is. It does nobody any good. When I've been drinking a lot of water, now I'm drinking diet iced tea, which is not all that great. But I don't drink a lot of it, and I do drink a lot of water. I can't drink coffee; it acts like a diuretic. I can drink hot tea, and I haven't gotten into it yet, but I think I'm gonna. And probably I'll make my own iced tea. No fruit juices, no soda. I guess I could drink soda water, diet soda water, I guess, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna mess around with anything that is a gateway drug. Back to what I'm trying to avoid. So a lot of things I could do, I'm not doing, simply because I don't want to create the craving, and that's really the key. If I eat, I put a mint in my mouth today. Haven't done that in probably a week. And I took it out, and I don't think I'll put it back because it will create a craving for another one. And then I'll be craving carbs. I do have a half a steak left from yesterday. I'm going to eat when we get done here. So that should resolve the problem. And here you go. I have horseradish. I'm going to use horseradish. Now, horseradish is a vegetable. It's not on the food plan, but I'm using it as a condiment. So not much, little bit. It helps add flavor and texture and variety. So I'm doing a little, I haven't done ketchup, and I might not. Ketchup's got way too much sugar in it. I have used mustard, and mustard helps. And of course, most of the other seasonings are okay. Drinking is kind of the problem. I haven't resolved it yet. Steak and egg, and I was disappearing. Yeah, I ate lots of eggs. I ate some cheese. A lot of I eat whatever I want, really, and as much as I want. I eat until I'm full. If I'm hungry, I eat, and I eat until I'm not hungry anymore, till I don't want any more food. Then I stop eating. As a result, I have no cravings. They've just evaporated because I don't get hungry. Cravings are a function of hunger, and they're a function of satiating the hunger with things that cause more hunger, like sugars. So, but I'm not a dietitian. Gums. Yes, gums. Well, it's a problem when you got false teeth and you chewing steak. But I'm making out. It's doing okay. Petroman, happy to see you. Delighted to have you here. KS Preeper, hello, hello. By the way, did your axolotls ever lay eggs? Do you have eggs or baby axies? Oxys. Puffin Stuff Fitzgerald, hello. You need a wrench. HNR Puffin Stuff Fitzgerald. You have sound. Good, I'm glad. Chewing gum. Chewing gum. Well, there are chewing gums that have no sugar in them. I can't chew gum though because it messes with my bridge work, with my plates. Oh, cool. Oh, Diana. I'm dying. I got to get some. They're here and I haven't caught them yet. You got brackish water sheep's head killies. And she got babies. Oh, that's wonderful. They will live with the babies. They don't eat their babies. They're strict vegetarians. All they eat is algae. Feed them veggies. They'll eat veggies. That is so cool having baby sheep's head with their parents because they dart around like crazy. They're just mad little creatures. And the males are stunning in an aquarium. I don't think I've seen a more beautiful fish with iridescent blue and jet black. Oh, just wonderful. I gotta get some. I've got to get sticklebacks and pipefish too. They're also in the bay. I just haven't found a grass flat yet. I got to make some serious efforts to get out and find a place. So far, nothing nearby is any good at all. Haven't found a thing within an hour's drive. And I'm dying because I got to find something before the summer's over. Thorn Trap. Hello, Thorn Trap. Give you a wrench. There. Raza. Sharp International. Now I know I should have used sand opposed to gravel. Well, what have I been saying? But now that I have, how often should I vacuum the gravel? Okay, here's what you should do. You should not vacuum the gravel. You should add 1 inch of sand to it, right on top of the gravel. That probably will settle in, which means you will need to add 1 more inch. If you want to skim some of it off, you can do that. I wouldn't bother. 55 is a deep tank. If you've got 6 to 7 inches of substrate, that's not too much. Just add sand to it, and then you won't have to do anything. It'll be perfect. Don't worry about it. Benny Z, the saltwater tank. Do you know what? I think I can show you a picture of it. I think I can get my camera over to it. I'm going to pull the light off and just leave it here. And I can carry my camera because I bought a 10-foot jack for it. Oh, which will reach. Here we go. Well, that brown algae is growing. I think they all are. I don't know about that one. It's losing a bit on its ends. There's a little fish. What is that? And there's a little piece of plant. I haven't found anything dead in here yet. So far, everything's doing all right. I got little crabs. There's a piece of sponge that looks like Nothing. It's got a lot of detritus in it. There's algae growth. It's green, but it doesn't look all that great. I haven't gotten in here and done a thing to it. Absolutely nothing. And what's been set up a month? I put a little bit of food in, not very much, and it's doing all right. I think it's not the most beautiful thing in the world, but there it is. Oh, well, let's see what's over here. I have baby platies. There's one. There's a little one. They're hiding. I got 8 or 10 of them in here. I had a 50, but then I switched everything around. Only got one male molly left. Got to get another molly. I want to get some better fish for this tank. I just haven't figured out what. There's a plant, right? Madagascar lace. Thank you. There's, look at that. I knew somebody who recognizes that. Petroman is what it is. Ain't pretty. All right, here's a baby. Nothing much else going on here. It's down here. I don't even know what's in here. A few bettas, I think, that spawn, but that are hiding. And this is the tank that blew up. And I'll tell you, it was a rank and rotten mess. There's one of the little culprits here. This is rank, just rank. Now I am not going to drain it. I went in with a net and I got some. I'm going to go in, do a better job, clean up the detritus, and I'm going to wait for it to clear up. It'll take 2 or 3 days, and it'll be fine. If I do it that way, then the tank will be stronger for it because it'll create the bacteria that's needed to be able to clear it up. So when you have that kind of thing go wrong, don't panic. Never panic. Don't do the obvious and tear it all down, because then you just got to start over again, and there's really no need to. It'll resolve itself. You know, water has a remarkable way of doing that. So just give it a little time, and it'll straighten itself out. You'll see next week. It'll be clear. Yeah, you talk a stallion talking about chewing gum, tricking the brain into thinking you read it. I don't need to do that because there's no hunger involved. I'm not ever hungry. I eat, and I eat as much as I want. If I want to eat a half a dozen eggs, I'll eat a half a dozen eggs. If I want to eat a 30-ounce hammerhawk, I'll eat it. I probably couldn't hold it. I'll eat until I can't eat anymore. And then I won't eat anymore until I get hungry again, which typically will be sometime the next day. Yeah, I'm kind of down to one meal a day. Now, yesterday I was hungry all day long. I ate probably 5 times, but it was small amounts. A hot dog here, piece of scrapple, some bacon, ham, half a steak, and a couple of eggs. I ate a lot yesterday, and I still lost a pound. You tell me. Ate 5 times and lost a pound. This is gold. I mean, if I get to the point where this is gone, I will be reborn. That's my game plan. I'm, I'll be 83 in September. And my game plan is to be reborn in a new body for my 83rd birthday. That's 2 months away. It's doable. I can do it. At the rate I'm going, all I got to do is live through it. Right. You know what I'll do? I'll show you this tank. This is this is a beauty. Let me take the lid off. Yep. There's a pencil fish. A red pencil. Not a lot of fish in here. There's Peplin Creek's big old male bristle. Here's a little black. That's a black cory. That's a what's it? I'm thinking fundulus. It's not fundulus. It's uh, Mercy. My brain's going. The Formosa. Formosa. Right. That's a guppy. That's a Russian. It's one of the Russian blacks. Moscow. There's a piston. We got two males and one female in here, I think. A little tiny. Where'd it go? Oh, that's a platy. He got in there. I really want more fish for this tank. I just haven't fallen in love with anything. Let's see, I've got some others in here. Got some from Peplin Creek that are in here somewhere. Hiding. They do hide here. Send them back. There's another. The other male Episto. And that one. He looks dominant. Be nice if they would spawn some guppies. Not a lot of guppies, 2 or 3. Hard to catch. Oh, I know. I had a friend who figured out how to catch them. He goes out at night. He catches them at night because at night they don't swim around. They just stay on the bottom. So he uses a flashlight, it's got like a headlamp. Goes in shallow water, spots them, and just like that. He came back once, he had 20 of them or 30 or something. Whole mess of them. He caught that way. Edwin Rodriguez at his moderator, wrench, save, explains what is he saying. I don't know, I just lost it. Okay, I need to start paying attention here. Saw your video on cycling a new tank. I have a brand new 125, day 2. Add 3 or 4 fish. For a 10. What about for a 125? Same thing. You want to add a small amount, make sure they're okay. Then you can add more. Well, you're probably going to put bigger fish in a 125. Just don't. I don't want to say don't overcrowd it because that's not the issue. Don't create pressure. A few fish will do very well. There will be no stress, no difficulty at all. And then in a week, you can add more. Do it again. And you'll reach the point rather quickly, within a month, where you'll be able to put pretty much whatever you want in there. Just go slow at the beginning. That gives all the biology a chance to build up. Because it's all there. It just needs to develop. So you're waiting for it to develop, and by putting fish in at the beginning, you're helping that biology to develop more solidly, more stably. Sloths are saying I made a tiny half-liter DIY CO2 for my betta tank, cup and a half of sugar, and some yeast, clear of algae and plants are thriving. Very good. There are a lot of clever things you can do, and I'm not against any of them. Don't think for a minute that I'm saying that doing this deep substrate the way I've been teaching it is the best thing to do or the only thing to do. I mean, it may be the best. And I haven't found many places where it's not, but it's certainly not the only way. It is the easiest way for beginners and for people who just want a stable tank that they don't have to mess with. That's going to give them a tremendous amount of satisfaction. So it's a way of having a master level aquarium with novice level skills. How's that? That's about right, I think. A little murky, Edwin says. Don't keep putting stuff in. Give it a chance to clear up. Ivan Vuckridge, maybe, is now duly wrenched. Oscar Jungle Tank. Let's see, let me back up a little. Okay, I'm catching up. What's before that? Most algae problems can be attributed to overlighting. Most, but not all. Blackbeard is not an overlighting problem. In fact, it's rather the reverse. Oh, Benny, you're going to love it. You'll be able to put so much stuff together so easily. Makes me wish I were there, but I'm not. Long as they have no leaks. Well, there's a key. Water change done. Good, Silver Creek. 50 gallons and a 120. Thank you, Diana. Bless you too. Swords love them. Probably scuds. Aqua Cape Goat, you can do it. Who, yeah, that'll solve the problem, Ivan. Absolutely. Koi guppy. I don't think it's a koi. I don't really know what it is. Oh, it's a Japanese. That's right. It's not Russian. It's a Japanese. It's not a grass guppy. Black. It's black. Matthew Dunn. Saw your video on cycling. We did this. He asked the question twice. Good for you. Smart man. Guaranteed to get, well, not guaranteed. Won't guarantee anything. But more likely. Christian Schmitz, question, 35-gallon patio pond with plants and white cloud minnows. Second floor patio in the city. Shall I feed the fish? I see them jumping, catching flies at dawn. They only need a meal a day. If they're getting enough, just keep an eye on. If you can get some leaf mulch from like a city park, from a pond and put that in, that's going to create food. And I know we're belching or hiccuping. Ooh. It was right there. And it still is. It ain't gone down yet. Oh, wonder what that is. I think I know it. 3G, I knew you'd back me up, Father Fish. Glad I did. Don't know. Don't know what I did. Matthew Dunn. You used to come to your store a lot before you retired. You saved my tank back then with your advice on sand and substrate. Now I'm more in the hobby than ever. Happy to hear it. Shankly is here. Got me some Siamese algae eaters. Yeah, they're cool. They are good. They are good hair algae eaters too. They absolutely are. All right, what am I trying to do here? Moderator. Bada bing, bada bang. Eric Hahn. Hello, Eric Hahn. Nice to see you. My very best friend's surname is Hahn, and he owns a zoo, of all things. It's not. It's a zoological park, is what it is. In Thurmont, Maryland, that's where the president's retreat is. Lovely, beautiful area. It's got 100-acre zoological park. You need to visit if you're ever in going headed into Amish country or near Frederick, Maryland, or Thurmont. Do it, do it. You'll love it. It's just magnificent. Rick and Marianne Hahn. Edwin says, I've only had one fish die on me in 3 years. This is interesting. John and White. I love this hobby, but dislike overpopulated tanks. That's really interesting. One of the complaints that are registered against the deep substrate is you can only have a few fish in them. And that's not true at all. I mean, in fact, it's absolutely false. But the tank is always more interesting if you have small colonies of fish that are able to function in a way that's normal, as opposed to 50 4 to 6 inch Malawi cichlids in a 55-gallon tank. That is insanity. I mean, it may be pretty seeing all the colors flash, but boy, it ain't good for the fish at all. And I'll tell you what happens to that tank. In 1 year's time, there's one fish left because they will kill each other off until there's a last man standing. Need to build up my leaf litter to 1 inch. How much and how often do I add leaf litter? Add it when it starts to deteriorate. Now, if you're building it up, put small amounts in about once a week. If you put too much in, it can create a pollution problem. There's another thing I need to speak to too, and I need to do a video about this. There's a mistaken assumption that the resurrection jar is made with mud. It is not. The resurrection jar is not made with mud. It is made with deteriorating leaves and mulch, and that's all. Maybe a little piece of plant in there, but no mud, no dirt. The problem is if you put dirt in that, in a small container, it fouls the water. It'll get rank and it'll kill everything off. So you just can't do it. I never have recommended putting dirt in loose in a tank. I have recommended putting a small amount in with the substrate when you're mixing up the soil base to be capped with sand. I have recommended that, and I stand by that. But do not, I didn't realize this until I saw my third resurrection jar that was stinky foul. And it dawned on me that that's exactly what had been done in all three of these jars. And I checked back, and sure enough, they put mud in it. Do not put mud in your resurrection jar. I mean, you could put a tablespoon in if you really wanted to. That's probably not going to hurt anything. But the main thing you want is the food source, the leaves, the mulch, which brings in all the animals. So you have an artificial environment in that jar, but it's one that will thrive until it doesn't. And it doesn't when the animals that are in there have used up all the nutrients, and they'll begin dying off. So you have to add nutrients to it. You can do it in the form of just dry leaves crushed and put them in there. As to the tank, you want to start with a wet mulch. No mud, just the mulch. Do 2 or 3 or 4 little handsful, not all at once, over a period of a week or 2 or even more. Go slow with this, it'll work better. And then start adding leaves. And do it the same way. Add leaves a few at a time, days or a week later, a few more, days or a week later, a few more until it's filled up. It might take you a couple of months to do it, but it will be stable and it will be healthy and it won't create any problems because it will have been assimilated into the balance of the tank. All right, Sarah says, struggling with keeping my very favorite plant, Vallisneria. 55-gallon dirted, capped with blasting sand. Water is Florida well water, not treated. Could it be lighting? Yeah, but I don't think so. Vallisneria should grow like a weed. Why would it not be grown? Check your pH. It needs to be hard and alkaline. You might be in Florida well water. You could be in a spring that's soft and acidic. You need hard alkaline or at least above neutral, like 7.5. You can resolve it by putting some salt in, not very much. 55-gallon. A quarter of a teaspoon of salt in a 55-gallon. That ain't much, but it will add minerals to it. Sea salt would be good. That'll also should build some carbonates up. Check the pH, see what the pH is. If it's below 7, that's the problem. You just need to kick it up. You can use sodium bicarbonate, a little bit, about the same amount, quarter of a teaspoon of salt, some calcium, crushed up eggshells. A lot of ways to do calcium. But you want carbonates. So try to pay attention to that. And then you want to change the water as little as possible. Preferably only what evaporates out. And try to add, when you do add, try to add hard water to it. You might buy drinking water, although I love well water. Check and see if that's the problem. Sarah adding Flourish Excel or no chems? Slaughter say. Yeah, don't use any ferts because it's going to give you a false. It'll give you a false balance because it'll use it up. It'll be not what it wants. The roots of plants signal to the bacteria in the soil the specific nutrients that they need, and the bacteria manufacture that nutrient. If you put fertilizer in, you stop that process cold in its tracks. So the plant never then gets precisely what it needs. Don't believe all the hype about, oh, ferts can do this and do that. They will give false growth spurts to a plant, which will then die. If you keep it up and keep it up, you're on a merry-go-round. You're just on this wheel and you're churning and churning. And the minute you stop, everything crashes. Don't do it. It's unnecessary. It's not helpful. It's not good for the plants. That what Sarah's talking about is something I make a serious effort to prevent when I create the supplement for the soil. I have a lot of carbonates in that and a lot of buffers in it. So it will hold the pH high. It'll never become acidic. That's what causes acid problems and burns up roots and stuff. You want it solidly alkaline, and you want it, what was the other thing? Nutrients, whatever. Anyway, you want a solidly alkaline, well buffered system. Michael DJ Parker. Hello, hello. A wrench for you, my friend. And he says, if I can find it, I lost it. I don't know, it's gone. Best sand to use if you don't want your water to be murky. Anything that is inert sand, preferably without clay. So you don't want to use clay sand. If your water is murky, it's not the sand that has caused it, because that clears up in a matter of days. If your water is murky, it probably is being overfed. You probably have much more food in there than the system needs, and so it's creating that murkiness, which can lead to a bacteria crash. So whatever you're doing, stop doing it until the water clears up. It will clear up all by itself if it's murky. If you're just theorizing, theorize no more. Yep, there it is, Valley Michael. I put sand plus dirt from the healthy pond I got in my jar, and it worked just fine. But if you use gunky mud, it'll foul the water. Yeah, you can put a little sand in there too. That's okay. Sarah, changing the light tomorrow. May add tabs. Vala been here a while. Did she say what her pH is? Alabuzia. How many rice fish is appropriate for a 10-gallon tank? 1.5-inch rice fish. We ought to do a poll on this. How many rice fish in a 10-gallon tank? You ain't alone, Val. You ain't alone. And it's probably my fault because I never made that clear. So blame Father Fish for that. Just don't do it again. Penny's Fish Keeping. I purposely slightly overstocked my 100 heavily planted with small fish for the nutrients to keep them growing. Yeah, I would say, Penny, that it's really hard to overstock a heavily planted 100-gallon tank with small fish. I mean, that would mean 1,000 fish. You would need 1,000 fish for it to be overstocked. And even then, wouldn't be a problem getting away with it. So my guess is it's really not overstocked at all. What you've done is maximize the numbers of fish in there in order to create the nutrient base for the plants. Makes perfect sense to me. That's the job of the fish. The fish feed the non-rooted plants, or the floating plants. That's what they do. And they do it by eating the microfauna in the tank, and that's the cycle. That starts the cycle right from the beginning. And it goes through the plants, into the soil, consumed by the microorganisms, back into the fish, and so forth. I should do paradise fish exorcism. Bravo, bravo. Paradise fish exorcisms. Couldn't think of a better thing to do. It's the only fish I think I truly hate. I don't think there's another fish I really hate as much as a paradise. They are the fallen angel of biblical proportions. They are the most beautiful angel in the heavens, enamored of his beauty, fallen to earth to become a ravenous wolf in beautiful clothing. Yeah, right. When it first got Vatican melt off, that's true. That's true. Don't yeah, do not throw it away. If you have plants that melt back, leave them in there. I mean, leave the roots in. You can clear the muck out if you want. Leave the roots in. Because very often, the root is not what's damaged. It's simply the leaves. And the plant has killed off the leaves because they're not productive, and it'll immediately grow new ones. Or sometimes not so immediate. I had, what was it? Wasn't a Nubius, wasn't a Nacris. Can't remember. Anubias, I'm going to say, but I don't think it was. Planted it, it died back. Almost 6 months later, it exploded out of the tank. I had probably 20 plants I'd put in there. That's where I bred my my little. I must be hungry or something. I can't think of anything. My brain's gone. The little pupfish that we were talking about earlier. I bred them in that tank once the plants started coming back. 40 breeder overstocked. It just has a lot of fish. Not really. Let's see. Nutrient dense substrate does wonders. I was lacking in a tank full of added root tabs and overgrew in a month. Volcanics works. So should I just use a turkey baster and remove the mud? No, you're okay. If you've got it going and it has not fouled, it isn't gonna at this point. If you got a lot of scuds and daphne in there, they are controlling the extra bacteria that soil is producing. If you want to add a little bit of sand to it, that would probably help. But no, you're in good shape. If you got a good culture, it'll be all right. But if it's a sparse culture, it's going to overwhelm the culture, is what happens. What plants are in your 59 deal right now? ordered earlier, just wondering. Well, they haven't come in yet. When they come in, they will be shipped out same day. I will post the list on Tuesday in Discord, but it'll be 16 bunches. We sell it as 15. You got one extra. They will all be different. It will be 16 different kinds of stem plant. Each bunch will have 3 to 5 plants, mostly 5. Some of the bigger ones will have 3. It'll be small plants, big plants, a real mix. So you can break them up and plant them in different tanks. You can put them all in one tank. Just do what you like. This tank has just a variety. I've been just jamming them in there, and it kind of looks like it, I know. But everything's healthy. It's all growing. Anything that gets stringy, I pull out um, because it just looks ugly. That's all. There's one that uprooted. I don't know if I can fix it. Let's see. Maybe. It's a pretty plant. There. I got a gap at the end of the tank. I need to find something to cover. Yeah, good point, Slauzers. You don't want to get salt on plants. It'll burn. Wherever it goes, it'll burn. Dissolve it first. Good cheap fert mix. The problem is it messes up the biology of the plant because that's not what plants do. Plants don't live that way. Plants there's a one kind of mineral they need when they're budding, when they're coming up through the ground. Another when they're growing stem, another when they're growing leaves, another when they're budding, and another when they're flowering. Those are all different chemical formulas that they need, and no fertilizer is going to provide all of them. It'll provide one, which will force its way into that plant so it'll do one thing and one thing only. It won't grow normally, it won't grow naturally. It may spurt out, and you may keep up with it so it keeps spurting, but at some point it's going to fail because it's an unnatural growth. Fertilizers are never, 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 never the answer. Not the right answer. You can use them, but you're risking your plants in doing it. A better solution is to provide a rich soil that will contain all of the bacteria and all of the microorganisms and all of the diverse minerals that are required in order for the plant to be able to tell the bacteria what to make so it can make it. It actually communicates with different bacteria for different things. It triggers certain bacteria to do certain things, which is what it needs. I mean, it's a miracle of growth that occurs very naturally. Putting fertilizer in there stops that process cold, dead in its tracks. You can do it, but I don't. I used to until I finally figured it out and understood what was happening. And I'll tell you where I learned it. Where did I learn it? I think I'll tell you. I'm not sure where I learned. A lot of this stuff goes so far back I can't remember. It's not that far back though. I mean, I've been doing rich environments for a long time, so I haven't needed ferns, but I was still using them in special circumstances about 2 years ago. Tommy Denda got me onto it. His research project on leaves and plants. That's what he discovered. He discovered some research that demonstrated that the plant releases hormones, different kinds of hormones, in order to achieve different things. And when it does, that hormone triggers the bacteria in the soil, which generate specifically what the plant needs at that point, and it absorbs it. That came as a revelation to me. And it's something that will be included in our book. By the way, we're putting together now the pages for the first section on leaves. We've done one, I got another one to review. That'll be together soon. There will be 8. We should be able to get that done in a matter of another couple of weeks. Then we're going to put it together in booklet form. It'll be about 25 pages. We're going to post it as a PDF on Patreon, so it'll be behind a paywall. It's only going to be $5 to get access to it. $5 a month, and you get unlimited access to it. So, and then the next project is going to be the micro and macro fauna that are living in that food web that we're creating, that mulch on the bottom. And the last module is going to be on the dirt, the substrate, what's in the soil. And that's going to really put me and my formula to the test, because they're going to document what works and what doesn't. And we'll find out if these 11 items I'm putting in there are appropriate or not. So far, I've been doing all right, but we'll wait and see. That'll be the end of the year. Probable cause from Australia. The invasive African jewelfish. That's a problem in Florida. What makes it a problem? What nasty things does it do? It destroys the breeding ground of other small fish. It eats their eggs. It kills them and eats them. It's a small, voracious predator that destroys nests. It'll actually go into a nest and eat all the eggs up. There are very few fish that do that. You see, that's why this whole thing about invasive species is a red herring. There are very, very, very few animals that are genuine problems as invasive species. I mean, go look at Australia if you want to understand what rabbits, rats, cats, and what's the other one? Toads. Rabbits, rats, cats, and toads are playing havoc with the environment. They're the real invasive species. Out of the 30,000 animals that are traded in this country on a daily basis, how many of them are problem species? Considering the fact that every single one of that 30,000 species has escaped into the wild at one point and another. Some of which have been able to establish breeding populations. The great majority never have and never will. They can't. The environment is too unique for them. Of those that have established breeding populations, a tiny percentage of them are dangerous to other animals in the environment. Most of them find an available niche that they slip into. That's how nature is. That's precisely how nature works. That's how every animal that exists on Earth got to be where it is. Every single animal on Earth is invasive at some point in its history. Every one, at some point. And we're worried about guppies? For God's sake. I wish we could establish a guppy population, even in Florida. I mean, there are some people who are claiming they're getting them. They're mostly in ditches surrounding fish farms. But to my knowledge, there are no large, substantial breeding populations, stable breeding populations of guppies in Florida. For one thing, the predation against them would be so severe they couldn't survive. For another, they couldn't survive. It just isn't a problem. And when we know it is, we deal with it. I get very aggravated about this because there is such a profound amount of abject stupidity, ignorance, and what goes along with that. The arrogance of stupidity dominates the conversation about invasive species. I give you the entire council, Florida Council. What is the council's name? It's not invasive species. What is it called? Natural, whatever it is, the Natural Species Board, the DNR, Department of Natural Resources in Florida, sought to ban every single animal coming into Florida. And they got bombarded with every single person whose livelihood depends on it, and every single person who understands the impact on the environment, sitting down in their hearing, giving them what for about it, and they backpedaled and excused themselves, and oh my God, we had no idea. Number one, that there were 30,000 species of animals already in the marketplace in Florida. Number two, there were millions of people whose lives depend upon it. Number three, there ain't no problem. I'm done with that rant. I feel better already. Need a drink. Thank you, Zach. Florida Wildlife Commission, yes. They had no idea what they were doing. No idea in this world. Yeah, there are giant snakes that are a problem. There are two other species that are a problem. Name another. There are three. The giant Plecostomus, which was deliberately released by FWC 50 years ago in order to create a breeding population. The cane toad was also deliberately released in order to control cane insects, whatever they are. The python was not deliberately released. It was housed in a number of facilities in the Everglades. Stupid. A massive storm came along, destroyed the facility. The snakes got loose and populated. And it has been an unmitigated disaster. Absolutely. Was it foreseeable? Yeah, probably. Could it have been prevented? Yeah, probably. But not by banning garter snakes. Edwin is saying goodnight. Guess he's had enough. I don't blame you, Edwin. Donna Marie, iguanas are crazy. Yeah, iguanas are not a danger. They are simply a pest. And the best thing to do with them is kill them, shoot them, and eat them. They're good food. Just create a harvest. I had an idea, never got to it, to do a booth at the state fair of iguana on a stick. I think it was iguana. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. Iguana on a stick as a food booth in order to introduce a new cuisine into Florida. Never got to do it. Ah. Humans on fentanyl are the biggest problem. God knows. Amen to that. Missed it. Where can I go locally in Venice to get some baby tears and freshwater plants? I did not get them in Venice. I got them in the middle of the state. Go out toward Arcadia. Go through Arcadia. What's that, 404? I don't remember. Go through Arcadia on the way to the lake, Okeechobee, and stop at every ditch along the way. And you will find all kinds of native plants growing in those ditches. About an hour's drive. And I'll tell you what else you'll find. You will find Elosoma evergladi. You got to know how to catch them. It's a little tricky, but you'll find those there too. If I need a substitute for limestone, um, what lime is providing is carbonates, calcium. A substitute for it. See if you. I'll tell you what. If you've got a, you can go online and get this on on Amazon. You want calcium, calcium carbonate. You want calcium carbonate. You can buy it um, online. Any pet shop that has reef fish, saltwater systems will also sell it. And they'll sell it in a big container. Not very expensive. It's cheap to buy, like on Amazon, like 10, 15 bucks or something for a whole big container of it. In fact, that's really what I ought to be using instead of fooling around with limestone. I do limestone because it holds out longer. Anyway, that's the simplest and the best sub for it. Deep fried iguana. Yep, they do iguana on a stick in Malaysia. There we go. Says Scott, and Scott would know. He's been there. The only snake I've eaten was rattle. I don't think I've ever eaten snake. I mean, no, most everything else. Never eaten snake. Yeah, Zach, hogs. Hogs are a bother too. Another invasive species. That's a good one. Hogs are a good one. Can you tell us about making A planted aquarium for your turtle. Yeah, the trick is you want deep plants, deep rooted plants, like large plants, like swords, stuff that's got deep roots. And don't put one or two in, put a bunch. You want a bunch. Plant them deep and then cap the sand with pea gravel or like that little river rock stuff. That'll help to control their digging propensity. Go fish. Gets a wrench. Bill Sid, add moderator. Tenderized or slow cooked. What I've been doing with my steak is aging it. Generally, I'll put it in the freezer when I get it, and then I'll put it in the meat tray to thaw, and I'll leave it in there for up to 2 weeks. Nothing much after that. The fat gets a little funky, but I trim that off, and then I salt it. And I've been using a system lately I really like. I have an air dryer, an air fryer, sorry, an air fryer. I heat it up to 400 for 5 minutes. And then I put the steak in it for 5 minutes, flip it for another 5 minutes, and it comes out medium rare. It doesn't get crusty. If you like a crusty uh, chill on it, then you need to put it in a pan just, and do that. Do that at the end, and you can also baste it with butter. Then that's a great steak. European gray squirrel was a species brought from Europe. It probably has chased the red squirrel out of the east. I don't know for sure. There's a black squirrel too. I don't know what was native. Generally, I think squirrels have done that. I think the gray squirrel Yeah, my signal dropped. I guess I'm back. Testing, testing. Come on back. Should be there. I'm waiting for the picture to come back up on YouTube. My signal dropped off. My wireless. I rebooted it and it came back up. So I think we're okay. But nothing is happening. Gee, 404, right. 718, so we're okay. Nothing is happening. With the screen. Let me just shut it off and bring it back up. Maybe that'll make a difference. Okay, I guess we're there now. Got it. Ever heard of bamboo fish? Bamboo fish. Look it up. See, bamboo fish. Bamboo fishing poles. What fish can you catch with a bamboo pole? That's funny. It's not going to show it. All I'm getting is bamboo poles. Bamboo fish. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Huh. Well, apparently it's good to eat. Let me show you some pictures. Get this somewhere where I can work with it. Well, that's cute. Let's see. You know what it looks like? It looks like a snakehead to me. Okay. Oh, well, that looks like a goby. Let's do this one. Stephen Clark, $20. You bless you, Stephen. Thank you so much. It says my Harlequin tetra swims upside down with some body jerks, plus mouth is open and closing at a faster pace. What could it might be? It could be that it's dying. It doesn't certainly doesn't sound good. Upside down, jerking with its mouth open. I give it an hour. I don't. How long has this been going on, Stephen? Glory. Okay, settings, present. Share screen. Bamboo fish. Share. What do you think of that? That looks like the body of a goby to me. I mean, I guess it could be a snakehead. I don't think. I don't know what. That's a goby. Gotta be. Or maybe a small snakehead. There are small species of snakehead. It's interesting fish. I don't remember. I've had fish that look like it. I don't know that I've ever had that species. Pretty neat. I like it. I have now lost YouTube. I'm having a time of it here. All right, let me get it back. Bamboo shrimp. Well, that's a fish. The one I just showed you is called bamboo fish. That is a so-called bamboo fish. Bamboo shrimp. Yes, I've had bamboo shrimp. They get kind of big. They're like 3 to 4 inches. I've never had a group of them though. I thought they would be interesting to do. To get a group and see if we can get them to spawn. Vampire shrimp is the other one, another larger shrimp. I think they're both from Africa. Cool little shrimp. I just caught something like that in my creek. Yeah, fat sleeper, right, exactly. Right. That's what I was saying. It looks like a goby. Fat sleeper is a goby. But the pattern is different, and those are out of Vietnam. So it's not the same species. It was the gallon of bourbon. Might have been. Might have been. Might have been. Brody's Bettas. Hello, hello. Aquathor 2 needs a wrench in the worst kind of way. We're going to get you taken care of there, Aquathor. James Hugan. James, I've given you a wrench before and you're wasting it. You have to sign up. You have to subscribe to the channel if you want to keep your wrench. Otherwise, I have to keep giving it to you every time you come in. Sign up, subscribe, and all will be good. And again, thank you, Stephen Clark. Michelle Parsons is going to switch to RO water. Okay. Do I need to know about this? Sarah! To follow up on the valve question. Haven't checked the pH in a while. Do that soon. It's the only tank I struggle to get valve growing. Also full of neo shrimp. Should be hard then. If you got neos going in there, I don't know. Um, I have not had a problem growing val in years, and my hunch is that's the only thing that's really going to keep it from growing. Drewborn, how do you start a tank with Tepler? Well, the easiest way is to get your substrate in there first, get the sand in, get all that right, lay a plastic bag or a plate or a bowl or something over it, and then connect a hose to your water source. And make sure you have the on off on your hose, if on the nozzle, then turn the water on. Take it over to the tank and slowly begin squirting water in there. Now, if you have chlorine in your water, not chloramine, but chlorine, then you can spray the water in against the glass and the chlorine will go whoosh because it's a gas. It'll come out instantly. If you have chloramine, you're going to have to use a chemical. I sell one on my website. You can get others. If it's an anti-chlor, use a double strength. It's a little tricky getting chloramines out, but that's how you do it. Right, James says. You already lost yours. No, you didn't. James says you're going to lose your ranch. Lose your ranch. Sloths just put him on a wild goose chase. Well, that's possible. What happened? What shrimp? Bamboo shrimp? I found it. I found it. I found the bamboo fish. There it is. Slaughter's bamboo fish. It was a bit of a wild goose chase, wasn't it? Funny. Chatterbox. I have chlorine. Wow. Yeah, easy to do. Just spray it. You can also fill up a container, let it sit for a day, and it'll be gone. Particularly if you put an air stone in it. Learn about new fish, right? At the very least, right? How long if I let water sit around will the chloramine dissipate? It never will. That's the problem. Chloramine does not dissipate. It has been tested and found in water that's been sitting for weeks. You have to remove it, chemically remove it. There's no other way to get rid of it. And it's ammonia that you need to get rid of. So theoretically, a lot of plants will get rid of it, but it's got to break the bond between ammonia and chlorine. Chloramine is a chemical compound made of ammonia and chlorine. You put those two little buggers together, both of which are extremely toxic, and you get a toxin that is guaranteed to kill. It's the nature of chloramine. That's why they put it in water, drinking water, so it will be guaranteed to kill. Damnedest thing that's ever been done to water. With a capital D, damnedest. It is evil. Evil, I say, evil. Missy, I love it. Picked up mud for my resurrection jar. Tried to just get dead stuff. Impossible. My jar is alive. It's alive. It's alive. By the way, I don't know if you saw the thumbnail. Here's Algae is now the thumbnail for the Algae video. We're trying to get that sucker going. It's just stalling and stalling. We're not reaching new people with it. It's a problem. We got really good 21,000 have looked at it, but they're all out of the 50,000 subscribers, or most of them. So we're trying to figure out what we can do to reach the uninitiated. The uninitiated. That's the game. The YouTube game is reaching the uninitiated and then getting that number to the point where you don't need to worry about it anymore. You've achieved nirvana, I guess. All right. What is this? Napalm. Yeah, napalm. What time? 7:30. Where am I? Oh, it's coming up. Okay. What's the biggest tank you've done with deep substrate? 500. I did a 500 gallon with 8 inches of deep substrate. Did a bunch of 200 gallons. Um, I've done 200-gallon trays too, saltwater. Anything bigger than that? I don't think so. 500 is the biggest. It's the biggest tank I've ever done, actually. And now I'm talking to a guy now about doing a tank that will be 20,000 gallons, swimming pool size, basically. And we're going to do that. The game plan right now is to do deep substrate, and it'll be in the Amazon, in an Amazon country. Do deep substrate with Amazon, all Amazon in it. It'll be an Amazon biotope, but from all over South America. So we're looking to get the rarest and most unusual fish. The likelihood of this happening is somewhere below 1%, but I'm game. If it comes about, I'm game. I'm going to do it. And I'm keeping my hook on the water. I really would like to do it because it could have such an enormous impact on the trade and on the native collectors. The whole industry throughout South America would just get an enormous boost from it. So I'm excited about that. Sabrina Alt. Just watch a bunch of videos because I'm about to set up my first third and bottom. Wanted to say hello and thank you for all your wisdom. And Sabrina, bless you. Bless you. I get questions every single day from people asking questions that prove they have not watched 5 minutes of one video. And anymore, my answer is watch some videos. It's all there. And that's all I say. Watch some videos. That's what it's there for. You know, they want me to replicate 15 hours of video in a typed comment below a video that they skimmed through, didn't bother to pay any attention to, misunderstood completely. So watch some videos. If they do, they're on their way. If they don't, you know, they can stay up there in the clouds. Put plants or water in first. Well, that's a good question. Fill it halfway with plants, with water. The only exception would be if you want to do a carpeting plant. That involves putting less sand in so that the roots are closer to the dirt. Otherwise, yeah, fill it halfway with water, put plants in, and then get your hardscape in there and fill it up. Start with the hardscape, then the plants. Gene needs a wrench. Right there. Melted butter. Please debunk the anti-naysayers of deep sand bed claims of poison gas and ammonia released into aquarium when sand bed is disturbed. The best thing to say to people who make that claim is, You've never done it, have you? Because if they had, they would know it's not true. Now, there is one thing that can happen. If the substrate becomes acidic, it can produce acid. I don't remember what kind. Somebody here will know. It can produce acid, and that acid will just be destructive. It'll burn the roots, it'll foul the water, it'll make a mess. When you create the substrate, you want buffers, buffers, and more buffers. You want you want a pH of 7.5 absolute minimum in the soil. Now, I don't bother to pH my soil because I've loaded it up with buffers. So it cannot ever become acidic. So I know in my tanks that's never an issue. See, it's not that it doesn't happen. It's not that it can't happen. It's that you got to be smart enough to prevent it from happening. And those people who aren't smart enough to prevent it need to learn how to prevent it. But see, they're not saying that. They're not saying they want to learn how to prevent it. They're saying you can't do it because it causes acid. And they're just dumb. They're just dumb. So you tell them, obviously you've never done it. Or you would know better. And and then no argument. Just don't get into arguing about it. Just leave them in their stupidity. If they're happy in their stupidity, that's fine. If they're not, they'll work their way out of it because you've challenged them. And if they take the challenge and are sincere and want to know the truth, they'll find it. It's not hard to find. Watch a video or two, or three or four. Got my little tank set up with the soil in the sand with the 6 guppies, 5-gallon. Hard time getting my food tank, my food jar set up. Okay. So start, first of all, you're collecting wild. Fill the jar up with the water from where you're collecting. Get a little bit of leaves, a little mulch. Not mud, but a little of the mulch. Put it in the jar. That's it. You're done. Nothing more to do. Set it on the windowsill. You can put a piece of gauze over it to keep mosquitoes out if that's an issue. And just let it sit there. In a week, it'll be filled with life and you'll be delighted. Then what you want to do is you want to take some of that out and put it in a larger container that you can feed some of that mulch and get more of it going so you can have a steady supply. The jar only gets you started. It's not going to be adequate to provide a steady supply. Maybe for a few guppies it will. Caleb Taylor, shall I worry about the bottom glass on a rimmed tank coming off from the deep substrate and hardscape? No. No, you should not. For one thing, there's nothing that would cause it to pull off. It's sitting on a stable environment, let's hope. When you put the substrate in, then put your hardscape in. I've seen videos where they tell you to put the hardscape in on top of the glass. Never, never, never do that. You can bump that hardscape 5 years down the road and it'll crack the glass. Never do that. Get the substrate in first, put the hardscape on top of it. That cushions the glass, cushions the whole thing. So the hardscape is not going to crack the glass. Natural gravel and established tank with abundant nutrients. Top this with sand. Yes, absolutely. No, you don't need to redo it. If it's been a setup for a while, then you've already got pretty good amount of detritus in there. Just cap it with sand. If it's brand new, yeah, tear it down and do it again. Because it'll save you a year, 6 months to a year. But if it's been set up for a while, just put sand in it. The bottom sheet is toughened. It is, but it's not unbreakable. It is not unshatterable. It can still break. And it will with a sharp enough blow. That's how you break that stuff with the hard, the sharp edge of a rock. Boom, like that, and it's gone. It's shattered. Don't do it. Are you going to pick that tank up? Well, I do, I mean, it sort of depends, but I do. Hardest people to wake up are those pretending to be asleep. Amen to that, Harry. You learn by your mistakes, absolutely. And I make them. I'm not above making mistakes. What are we doing time-wise? Where are we? We got about 10 minutes. My name is Mud. Do not bother attempting to sand an already filled tank. Well, that's not really true. If you've got a tank that's been set up for a long time, and you've got like 2 inches of gravel, or maybe even an under gravel filter, if you will cap that with sand, it will be as good as a brand new dirted tank. It will, because it has all of the biology in it that's needed to be able to keep it going. The only thing it doesn't have is a way to keep it from washing out into the water column. So the sand does that. The sand protects the water column from the active substrate. So you're okay. In fact, it's interesting to me that the whole discussion about plenums and slow deep substrate, slow under gravels is based on building up the nutrient base in the substrate, sand or gravel, whatever it is, building that up. The curious thing to me is once that's been achieved, the very people who have done it break it down and start over. They finally got things to where they need to be. Put a little sand on top of that. They'd be good to go for the next 10 years. Nope, got to tear it up and start over. Heading to the west coast of Florida. A couple of weeks to look for dwarf seahorses. Where's a good place to get dwarf seahorses? The best place is Florida Bay, all the way down into the Everglades. If you're going to be further north, like around Venice, Englewood, the Englewood, not the beach, the Englewood. It's called Indian Mound Park. It's a public access, public beach. Get a big push net and push through the grass, and you'll get some there. Much of Lemon Bay is really good collecting for pygmy seahorses, and I want some so bad it hurts. I gotta get them. I got somebody I need to bug about it who has a home right on Eastern Bay. I need to get his butt out in the water collecting them. Yeah, it just cat. You're right. If you rinse it good, it won't be a problem. You can use the play sand. It just needs to be, or you can use play sand before you put the water in the tank, and then be careful about covering it when you put the water in so you don't stir it up, and that works fine too. Do they have freshwater seahorses? No, there are no freshwater seahorses. There are brackish water pipefish. There are even freshwater pipefish, and they show up occasionally. I don't know where they're from. Far East, I guess. I've had a few, and there's some with a prehensile tail, which is pretty cool. A little hard to keep. Where do I get the mulch from my resurrection jar? I have a collecting spot nearby. It's a creek that has um, a bend in it that collects leaves that are floating down, and they just build up, and I go in there. I can harvest that every month, and there will always be a harvest. It's a really nice spot, and I caught fish there. I even caught a tiger salamander there. Didn't know I caught it. Bagged it up, shipped it to Ohio. It showed up in the guy's tank, and it's still alive. He's doing well with it. I think he actually gave it to a local nature center. Nice. I would love to get some of them. Pipefish are cool. Yes, they are. And pipefish are very easy to keep. They're a good one for eating um, microculture. They eat pretty tiny stuff. I've had them survive with little or no food for months because they're eating microculture. Oh, that was on me, Zamboni killer, right? Yeah, check on him and let us know. Take a picture of him. Let's see how he's doing. Siloese shrimp, being RO water. Well, that could be. That could be too much. Michelle would say too many minerals. That could be. How do you catch a pygmy seahorse? I have a big net. It's called a vat net. I got it from the Florida Tropical Fish Farmers Association Co-op store. It's about that big, that deep, and long pole. It's used by fish farmers to clear out their vats. They go one end to the other and catch every fish in the vat. They cost $200. They ain't cheap. But I push that through grass flats. Now, there's a device you can make. I made one once, loaned it out, never got it back. And it was magnificent. It was 6 foot wide, made out of PVC, had a 2 foot depth with two braces in the middle, and then a double handle that came up, U-shaped handle with a bar in the middle. And I used push net, seine net material to bag it. Had a little bit of a bag in it, not a big bag. Man, that caught everything, and it was so easy because all the pressure was right here. What is going on? I have not been live this whole time, have I? Honestly. I'm going to have to get used to this camera. There are a few little tricks with it that I haven't learned yet. It's like a 5-step process to get it working. And if it goes off, I have to go through the process again. It's not automatically right there. Hi, I'm back. I know, for the last 5 minutes or so. Incredible. Well, it's been fun. Audio's been good. Well, I don't know why that is. I don't know what mic I'm on. Because the camera has a mic. And I've got a separate mic. I guess the separate mic is on. I don't know. Jim Bob, how much of your substrate supplement do I use for a 40-gallon tank? Headed to the potting soil, yes. How much? 40-gallon, a 40-gallon. Okay, that's a breeder tank. That's almost the same footprint as a 55. Use half. Use half of it. You can use more. It's going to make it stronger and you might have a problem. But use half of it. And then that tank is not very deep. So you want to get an inch or maybe a little less than an inch of dirt, and then an inch and a half to barely 2 inches of sand. Of the 9 inches, that's going to cover 3. So you haven't got much of a window left there. But that would be kind of minimum. Will your Cory be all right? Yeah, absolutely. Corys love sand. Better than gravel. What type of shrimp are hard to breed? I'll tell you frankly, I think the vampire and the bamboo would be the hardest ones. The most difficult is going to be because it's requires salt water. What am I thinking? Like that. The killer black ops having the hardest time trying to get my tank not to become cloudy. 2 convict cichlids in a tent. 2 convict cichlids in a tent. I just want clear water. Well, yeah, there's an easy fix for that. Killer black ops. Take those convicts out and put them in a 20 and put some guppies in the 10. That will solve the problem. The convicts are too big and too active for that small a tank. I mean, and it probably feels okay, but it's really not. They're much too dynamic a fish. So Louise, nothing what I was thinking about, but that's right. Would I do dirt and sand in 150 or just 2%? I'd do dirt and sand because you're going to want to plant it. But you want to do like 150. 2 inches of dirt, little under, 1 3/4 inches, and then 4 inches of sand. And then if you're going to put big fish in there, you need pebbles on top of that, and maybe even small rocks on top of that, so they can't dig down into it. And the plants won't have a problem with the rocks; they'll just grow right up through them. What are we doing? We got 104 likes. How many people are here? 91. Oh, now I can't scroll up. What's going on? Makes my hair look shorter. My hair is shorter. And it's going to get shorter. My beard is shorter, and it's going to get shorter. An echo. My bubbles and your bubbles. Yeah, probably. Jim Bob. Looking forward to it, Jim Bob. When you get it set up, come on over to Fatherfish Shoal to the Discord and post some pictures of your new tank. We will be delighted to see them. Allie Strong, what do you know of the product All for Reef as a saltwater solution with a bicarbonate of soda and All for Reef work? Yes, for a healing tank, absolutely. Absolutely. You just want to watch the salinity level. You want to keep it down. Keep it down under 10, under 0.10. Oh, wow. Petco has bamboo shrimp. Buy them all. Get them all. Get them all. Oscar says, my two Oscars leave a coat of waste on top of the sand in 1 week. How do I get rid of it without vacuuming? Put a hang on the back on, or a canister filter. Use some other kind of filter. Do you have sponge filter in there? That can help too. The other thing is to get the leaf mulch going in there. If you do that, it'll be absorbed in that food web. Oh, the chatterbox saying he got bamboo shrimp. First time all dead, second time they made it. Very cool fish. Really a fun shrimp. Like I said, I've only had one or two. I've never tried to do much with them, but they're pretty hardy. I've never really lost them quickly. They don't require any special handling or attention. You can put them in a regular tank with regular fish, and they'll do just fine. They're not going to bother anything. They're a filter feeder. All right. Then the main driver. Huh. Oh, nice. So Zamboni Killer is nurturing the nature center. Yeah, I was in one just recently that needs all the nurturing it can get. They haven't figured out much. 6 Taiwan lilies. Nice. Set up an outdoor pond. Get some going outside. You'll be thrilled. All right, we're at 8 o'clock, boys and girls. We're gonna put the kibosh on this. Delighted to be with you all. It's been a kick in the head. Appreciate all of your support on here and on the videos. We broke 50,000. In fact, we hit 54,000 today. I think that's 4,000 in a week, 10 days, something. We're averaging, views are averaging about 2,000 a week. That's 8,000 a month. That means we can get to 100,000 at that rate in by Christmas. Easy. Gonna do it. Gonna do it. We'll be at 100,000 by the end of the year. Please be supportive. Planning on doing African cichlids. We'll talk about that some more. That needs a lot more discussion. Great to do. What I would recommend would be Tanganyikas because they're much less disruptive. They're a whole lot easier to maintain in a community setting. They don't kill each other. They're much more attractive and interesting. Um, Look into that. Look into Tanganyika cichlids. All right, we're there. Thank you for the hearts and kisses. Thank you for the love. Love you all. Bless you all. Bye for now.